always call him
Mr. Heisman.
Touchdown. They always call
That's
him
right.
Mr.
Let it play. Let it play. It's that time of the year once again. Welcome back, college football fans, to the only channel created by the college football fan for the college football fan. The only channel where we examine, discuss, celebrate, and honor all things college football across the entire college football landscape, right here on the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog. I'm your usual host, Blair Parks. Holla at you, boy! I am uber and super excited because if you are a college football fan, as the great Flava Flav once waxed poetically, you know what time it is. That's right, it's game week. Week 1 is upon us. The college football season begins now. And what a great time of year it is. And what a pleasure it is for me to be with you once, sometimes twice a week, sharing my love for all things college football with you, my fellow college football fanatics and brothers and sisters. And man, I am so pumped that the season is finally nigh. Now, before I say anything else, for those of you who have been with me before or who are fellow subscribers to the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog, I'd like to say thank you for everything you've done and everything you will continue to do for the channel, all of your continued support, because without you, none of this is possible. And if this is your first time with me on the channel, welcome. This is a gathering spot for all fans of college football. You don't have to be a fan of the Black and Gold vlog to enjoy the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog. So please, I would really appreciate if you could do anything to help the channel grow. Feel free to give me a like, share, rate. Go ahead and click that subscribe button to get notifications when my most updated episodes are posted here on YouTube, because I want to find more college football fans just like you. All right, so what I've got on tap for you today, it's kind of back to my normal routine now that the regular season is upon us. Today, I will be sharing with you my Week 1 preview and picks episode. So starting off, what I'm going to be doing when it's a odd number week, so week 1, 3, 5, 7, etc., I will always go ahead and give you my updated Heisman Trophy standings. I will always go ahead and give you that current week's trap games. And I got a special guest in studio to help me with the trap games. And then I will move into my preview and picks for that week. But before I do that, I'm always going to go ahead and do a wrap-up for the previous weekend's games. And we did have a few games during week 0. So I am going to start off by just doing a quick review of everything that happened during week 0. And during the even number weeks, 2, 4, 6, 8, etc., I'm going to go ahead and do my buy, sell, or hold segment, where I go ahead and do the best I can to play the stock market via college football. All right, so let's go ahead and get this party started right, just like Flava Flav said there as well. All right, so let's go ahead and start off with, let's do a quick review of everything that happened during week 0. And this is a segment I will do every episode, midweek episode, is 3 cheers. These are the happenings, the great individuals, great victories or accomplishments of the upcoming people that I mentioned in this segment who deserve a little bit of a shout out. Some props for everything that they accomplished during that week. Thank you. Exactly. That's exactly what we give them, because once again, I practice what I preach. I want to celebrate and give attention to all things college football, especially some things that kind of go unseen and don't get the attention that they deserve. All right. So my first cheer of week 0 goes to Kansas quarterback Jalen Daniels. He's back. He looks healthy. If you've never heard of this cat, I mean, he is absolutely a stud, very highly talented, but the last couple of years he has just been battling back issues during week 0. Kansas hosted Fresno State and put an absolute beat down on the Bulldogs. I believe the final score was 31-7. But Jalen Daniels looked the part. I mean, his final numbers don't really jump off the page, but just listen to how efficient and proficient they were. His final numbers, Jalen Daniels was 18 of 20 passing, which is just a little bit above 90% completion percentage, threw for 176 yards, 3 touchdowns to 0 interceptions, and he also ran for 47 additional yards on the ground using his legs. And this guy is your classic dual threat guy. And I cannot wait to see him play the rest of the season. Hopefully he stays healthy, because I believe Kansas has the opportunity to play spoiler within the Big 12 conference. So Jalen Daniels, here it is. You deserve it. Take a bow. Soak it in. All right, my second cheer for week 0 goes to the Western Kentucky quarterback. Listen to this name, Maverick McIver. I mean, that's like Hollywood scripted. What a great name for a quarterback. Western Kentucky quarterback Maverick McIver put up some big numbers in his game. He ended up completing 33 out of 51 passes for 401 yards, 3 touchdowns to 0 interceptions. But the reason why this really doesn't surprise me, 2 seasons ago, if you remember my boy Bailey Zappi, who was the Western Kentucky quarterback, I mean, a guy who really deserved a lot of Heisman love, probably should have been invited to NYC. I mean, the guy at the end of the season at Western Kentucky ended up throwing for a new record for total yards in the season and total touchdown passes in the season. So Western Kentucky just continues to move along down there, those hilltoppers in Western Kentucky. So Maverick McIver, I'll be watching you the rest of the season. Man, what a great name. So Mr. McIver, this one's for you. Keep it up. We're proud of you. All right, and my final cheer for week 0. What another great story. I mean, I wasn't able to watch this game. I'm talking about the late game in Paradise. Stanford, the Cardinal, they traveled to Hawaii to take on the Rainbow Warriors. I mean, you've got Mountain West versus ACC. I mean, that's still, just confuses the hell out of me that Stanford is now in the ACC. Even though they're a West Coast team, they play in the Atlantic Coast Conference. Okay? But what a game. I mean, Hawaii ends up pulling the upset over a Power 4 competitor in Stanford. But the hero of that game, a young man named Kenzie Matsuzawa. I mean, the guy is their place kicker. In that game, he went 3 of 3 as far as kicking field goals, 2 for 2 with extra points. But the real miraculous story is how this cat learned how to kick. This was his first year ever kicking field goals. He learned via YouTube. I mean, what a great story this is, an accomplishment for this young man who, after the game, he did hold a press conference basically saying, pardon me, I don't speak great English, but he absolutely did. So happy for this young man. This might be the highlight of not just the season for him, but his entire career. So Kenzie Matsuzawa, my last and loudest cheer for week 0 goes to you. Much deserved. Soak it up. Take it all in. All right. So let's go ahead and move into my next segment. I will also do this one this is the last segment dealing with the review of the previous weekend's action. And this is a new segment here on the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog. I'm so excited about it. It goes through the shameful moments, things that we saw take place on the gridiron, either something that absolutely is uncalled for, something that really grabbed our eye and attention for all the wrong reasons, all right? Because we see these things, these poor examples of sportsmanship or play calling or acts by the fans that continuously just each and every week get to be more and more, and they've got to come to a stop. So I'm going to call this one my shame segment. And yep, you got it.
Shame.
Thank you, Septa Ulena. I appreciate that. All right, so week zero's shameful moments. I'm going to go with two, but from the same game, so they are related. The big game over week zero over in Ireland, across the pond, Farmageddon. The Big 12 conference game between Iowa State and Kansas State. Both are highly ranked. Both are contenders for the Big 12 title. What a great game it was on the field. There were a few mistakes, as you would expect for a week zero game. There were some turnovers, some mistakes, some penalties, but that's expected. And plus, it was very damp there in Ireland. The majority of the game, it was a constant rain, so the conditions slippery, a little bit wet. But overall, this is the first shameful moment. And this is something that absolutely, like Peter Griffith would say in Family Guy, it grinds my gears each and every week. And this is really all levels of football, whether it's college football, the pros, high school, junior high, peewee. We continue to see just ignorant calls by coaches as far as fourth and go for-itis, okay? I'm getting tired of seeing this, all right? I understand we live in a new age of logistics and analytics. Oh, yeah, the percentages say go for it on 4th and 1, 4th and 2 from this yard line X amount of times, and X amount of times you should be able to convert. I get that. But sometimes I'm sick and tired of these coaches trying to reinvent the wheel. Sometimes you just have to follow the classic, proven, rules and strategies of football. All right? Even if you've forgotten those, if you remember those old, those textbooks, the coaching for dummies, basically, sometimes just follow the classic manual. These coaches continue to just really boggle my mind with some of the decisions that they continue to make. It has to stop. It gets more and more out of control to where one play doesn't necessarily lead to overall, this is what cost a team a victory or cost them a loss, but it doesn't help. All right, and coaches continue to add to that. Let me break down what happened in case you missed it. All right, trailing 17-14. So a one-possession game. Kansas State's down 3 to Iowa State with 8.5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. So basically an entire quarter to go. I believe at that point they had 2 timeouts plus the 2-minute timeout as well. And it's 4th and 1 to go. They're at their own 30-yard line. And what does Kansas State do? You guessed it. They go for it against all logic, and they get stonewalled. They turn it over on downs. Iowa State cashes in, and then they take a 24-14 lead. Kansas State would score quickly in response, but it wasn't enough. Kansas State loses to Iowa State 24-21. Why the hell did Coach Kleinman go for that? I want anyone here to make a logical statement or argument for why you do that. You just don't. You just don't do that. All right? And if I was the Kansas State AD, now I love Coach Kleinman. All right? I love the connection between Iowa with former Kansas State coach Bill Schneider, who was Iowa's offensive coordinator under Hayden Fry, basically bringing the Kansas State program to life. So I have a lot of respect for Kansas State. I do. But there's no way you can try to convince me, regardless of the situation, that that was the right thing to do. All right? And if I was the Kansas State AD, getting back to what I was saying, I would say right there and then, Coach, we appreciate everything you've done for us, but you're going to have to find your own flight home because at this point, you are fired immediately for making that decision. And then in the press conference to Coach Kleinman's, to his credit, he did say, if I could do it all over again, I would do the same thing. Well, you would have lost again, all right? And not to say that they went for it on 4th down and go and 1 or 2 to go, not once, not twice, but 3 times that game, and they did not convert on any of them. So please, coaches, Coach Kleinman, get yourselves together. Do not punish your players who are out there. Give them the opportunity to win. So Coach Kleinman and other coaches who make these mind-scratching decisions, I'm sorry.
Shame. Shame. Shame.
All right. And the second part of this, it also deals with that game. After the game, outside of Aviva Stadium, on the streets of Dublin, Ireland, following this very tough emotional loss for all the Kansas State fans. I get it. All right. We're fanatics. We put so much into our teams, especially this game. I mean, you spend buku bucks, getting airfare, hotel, hospitality stays in Ireland. Definitely was not cheap by any means. So I get it. That was a tough experience, a tough loss to take. But you never want to ruin it, and we continue to see fans do this on the weekly as well. Just like coaches go for it in these terrible situations. What I'm referring to here is after the game. Oh, wow. I tell you, this is difficult to even discuss being a father, but quarterback Avery Johnson, who's the quarterback of Kansas State, stud, a guy has got a great career ahead of him. He still has 2 years, I believe, maybe just 1 year after this at Kansas State, a guy who will ultimately prove to be a stud quarterback, in my opinion. But after the loss, his father and his brother were caught and video recorded outside of the stadium throwing fists and coming to fisticuffs for reasons unknown. So not only is it bad enough that your team lost and you feel sorry for your son and your brother, but to have a father and son fight, and I mean a physical fight, to be caught on camera and posted. It's now viral. Check it out here on YouTube. And to see fans and have fans see that, what an awful look for the Kansas State program, for quarterback Avery Johnson and the Johnson family. I'm sorry. They have since made a statement apologizing for the incident. I get that, but how can you ever, as a father, bring yourself to take a swing at your son and vice versa? I don't get it. So fans, please act appropriately. Do not tarnish these games. So to Papa and brother Johnson, I say to you,
shame. Shame. Shame.
All right. So that is my 3 cheers and my shameful moments from week 0. Check back next week. I will have those segments for the upcoming week 1. Please like, share, comment below. I always ask for and welcome your participation here in the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog. If you hit me up via comments, I promise I will get back to each and every one of you much sooner than later via those comments. All right. Before I get to my trap games and the segment you're all waiting for, my week 1 preview and picks, I want to go ahead and share with you who I believe are going to be this year's Heisman Trophy finalists. And I'm also going to unveil to you who I believe will be hoisting the Heisman Trophy award this year in NYC. All right, I think it's actually already slipped. I think it slipped last episode. Who I think is going to win the Heisman, but I haven't officially shared this with the Touchdown Black and Gold family. So here are my official Heisman Trophy finalists listed in alphabetical order entering week 1. I've got Clemson quarterback Cade Klubnik. I have Notre Dame running back Jeremiah Love. I've got LSU quarterback Garrett Nussmeier. And finally, I have Ohio State wide receiver Jeremiah Smith. Those are the 4 individuals I think will ultimately end up in New York City, but we'll have to wait and see how the season plays out. Now, my first 2 out. All right, these are the 2 individuals I think that can work themselves up into that main list of the top 4. I've got Penn State quarterback Drew Aller and South Carolina quarterback Lenoris Sellers. Now, there's some other individuals that I could have put here, and there's a big name missing. I get it. I was also thinking about potentially putting Alabama offensive tackle Caden Proctor as one of my first 2 out. And I thought about putting Texas quarterback Arch Manning, who is the odds-on favorite to win this year's Heisman Trophy award, but I'm just not buying it quite yet. I'm not saying these individuals can play themselves onto that short list. Once again, they can, but I'm just not buying stock in that quite yet. All right? And who I think is ultimately going to be crowned and given this year's Heisman Trophy, I think that's going to go to the only team that I believe will go 13-0 prior to the college football playoff. They'll go undefeated in the regular season and win their conference championship. I'm going with Clemson quarterback Cade Klubnik is my Heisman Trophy winner for this upcoming season. And once again, we'll see how this plays out, but I'm rolling with Cade, and I think Clemson will be the only team, once again, that goes undefeated prior to the college football playoff. All right? So that is my Heisman Trophy finalist picks and my pick to win the Heisman Trophy for the upcoming year. Let me know what you think about that. Like, share, comment below. Is there somebody else who should be on that short list or somebody else who should be on the first 2 out? Do you agree or disagree with my list? Can't wait to hear from you. All right, now let's move into week 1. And what a huge week 1 we have. We have not 1, not 2, but 3. Count them. 3 bullets. 1, 2, 3. Like in the Deer Hunter. I mean, what a dramatic, great, but yet disturbing scene. That Russian roulette scene from the Deer Hunter. We have 3 games that include top 10 teams. So 3 top 10 battles that'll be taking place during week 1. All right. So before I get to those games and picks, I'm going to share with you, like I do every week, the trap games from the upcoming week. And I've got 4 to share with you. And I've got a very, very special guest here in studio to help me with the trap games. He's already in mid-season form. Take it away.
It's a trap.
Thank you, Admiral Akbar, for your assistance. Let's get to week 1's trap games. First trap game I want to share with you, Mississippi State, who is a 13.5-point favorite. They go on the road to the Southern Miss Eagles. I'm putting Mississippi State on trap alert. Here's why. This is a Mississippi State team that really struggled last year. They went 2-10 overall, 0 in SEC conference play. But I think they need to come out ready to play because in week 2, they're sitting there looking at your classic look-ahead opportunity, are the Bulldogs of Mississippi State. Next week, they host number 11 Arizona State. Big matchup. If you recall, Arizona State won the Big 12 title last year and did represent the Big 12 in the college football playoff. So Mississippi State, hopefully you're not looking past the Golden Eagles of Southern Miss, or else you're going to find yourself begging and wondering why the hell did we set ourselves up for such a...
It's a trap.
Thank you, Admiral. All right, the next trap game of week 1, I'm going to go ahead and roll with the Toledo Rockets from the Mid-American Conference. They travel on the road to take on the Kentucky Wildcats. And Kentucky, from the SEC, currently is a 9.5-point favorite at home. But Kentucky also coming off of a tough year, just like Mississippi State. I mean, they did win a couple conference games, but the Wildcats had a losing season, And Toledo, this is a good program, okay? This Toledo team has been picked and favored by many to win the MAC title this year. And Toledo went on the road and defeated aforementioned Mississippi State. So they're used to going on the road to hostile environments. So Kentucky better not be taking the Rockets for granted. And I'm also putting them on, to make it worse, they're also sitting in a classic look-ahead position. Next week, Kentucky will host number 21 Ole Miss. The Rebels come to Lexington. So I'm telling you, Kentucky, you better not be looking ahead, or else you're going to find yourself in another...
It's a trap.
That's right. Absolutely. Listen to the Admiral. Squiddy knows. All right. My next trap game to share with you in week 1, I've got the Central Michigan Chippewas from the aforementioned MAC conference. They travel out west to take on the San Jose State Spartans from the Mountain West Conference. And San Jose State currently is a 12.5 point favorite at home. I love this San Jose State team. They are picked by some to win the Mountain West, but everybody knows they are going to be the toughest challenger versus Boise State this year. I mean, Boise State is ranked. Last year represented the group of 5 in the college football playoff. So San Jose State is really been pegged as many to give them everything they can want and more in the Mountain West. But I got the San Jose State Spartans on Trap Alert. I know they're a good team. But next week, another classic look-ahead week, look-ahead position. Pardon me, I do my own stunts here in the Touchdown Black and Go vlog. I don't do any retakes. I don't do any edits. I don't do any dress rehearsals because, hey, that's a job. I've got a legit job. I've got 2 children. This is all just about fun, all right? That sounds like way too much work for me. But next week, San Jose State travels to Austin to take on number 1 Texas. So, San Jose State, your Spartans, your Warriors, but do not take the Chippewas lightly because this is a classic, you-know-what kind of game?
It's a trap.
If I ever saw one. All right, and my final trap game for week 1, I'm going to go ahead and list this game from the FCS, from the Missouri Valley, the power of the Valley. Never sleep on the Missouri Valley, guys. The South Dakota Coyotes, they travel to number 22 Iowa State. And Iowa State currently is a 14.5 point favorite at Jack Trice Stadium in Ames. And I'm putting Iowa State on Trap Alert. I mean, really for 2 main reasons. I already mentioned they're coming back home, from Ireland with that big victory over fellow Big 12 competitor Kansas State. And next week in week 2, they host my Iowa Hawkeyes come to town for this year's edition of the Cy-Hawk battle for the Cy-Hawk Trophy. So Iowa State is really in both a letdown position and also a look-ahead spot. And this South Dakota team, this is a good football team. I believe they made the Final Four last year in the FCS playoffs. I believe they're ranked number 6 or 7 currently in the FCS polls. They can play. Iowa State might be a little bit banged up, but also, hey, could be looking at a little bit of a letdown spot and a look-ahead spot. So Iowa State, the clones, I'm putting you on absolute trap alert. So be mindful, it could be.
It's a trap.
All right. Thank you very, very much, Admiral Akbar. Where would I be without you? All right. So once again, let me know what you think about my trap games and anything and everything that might be on your college football mind. Comment below, like, share, rate, subscribe. Can't wait to hear from you. Thank you for your support and everything you do for the channel. All right. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we move into the segment that you've all been waiting for, my week 1 preview and pick segment. I'll be doing this each and every week with you. Cannot wait. All right, so if this is your first time here in the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog, some things have stayed exactly the same, but I have tweaked the number of games that I'm going to select every week. So what I've been doing now for the past 3 seasons, all right? My goal at the end of the regular season is I want to be 75% better. I want to be at 75% or better as far as picking the winner of these games. I don't play the spread. I just like to pick them straight up. That's it. All right, so each and every week I'll have 10 games that I'm going to share with you. Most of these games you're aware of, but some could be a little bit off the radar type games that will matter big time in the long run, either for conference championship ramifications or for college football playoff ramifications. So 10 games every week. I want to end up being 75% or better. And within those 10 games, each and every week, I'm going to have 4 specialty games that I'll be selecting. Every week, I will be picking one game that includes either Army, Air Force, or Navy. That is my way to salute the men and women, both past and present, of the American Armed Forces. I will always have a game that'll include one of those 3 cadet programs as my way to say thank you for your service and all that you have done for us Americans. So I will always have, a military game of the week. I will always have my group of 5 game of the week. So basically a game between one of the 5 smaller conferences out there, whether it's the Sun Belt, the Mid-American, Conference USA, the American Athletic Conference, or the Mountain West Conference. And each and every week that my Iowa Hawkeyes play, I will make my Iowa selection of the week, and they do play here in week 1. And finally, my last specialty game that I will have each and every week is my spotlight game of the week, or the game that I am most excited to watch, where I think there is the most on the line for both of those teams, either currently or moving forward in the season. All right? And I never have games that take place on Thursday or Friday nights, because I want to give you plenty of time to research and let me know what you think about my picks. All right? So without further hesitation, let's get it. All right. So my first game that I'm going to be selecting this week, kind of an off-the-radar game. We've got Northwestern of the Big Ten Conference. They travel down to New Orleans to take on the Tulane Green Wave from the American Athletic. Tulane has really kind of risen to prominence. They've been very consistent the last 5 seasons, a strong program. But are they going to be able to knock off a Power 4 team in the Northwestern Wildcats? Currently, Tulane, surprisingly enough, is favored by 5.5 points at home. I definitely can buy that Tulane is favored, but that's a 6-point favorite over a Power 4 conference team. That seems like a lot. Preston Stone is the new quarterback at Northwestern. He transferred in from SMU over the offseason. But I just don't think Northwestern has the horses. I like Tulane in this spot, but I think it's going to be maybe a 3 to 4 point game. Give me the Tulane Green Wave in this matchup. All right, go Tulane. And plus, I got to say, the Tulane women, the fans there, woo, some of the best looking college football fans and best fans, in my opinion. All right, this second game, a game that needs no really introduction or much discussion about. You know about it. We've known about it all off season. It's been the talk of the town, even for seasons since it's been scheduled. But surprisingly to some of you, it is not my spotlight game of the week. I'm talking about the Fox Big Noon game, which kicks off at 11. Number 1 Texas travels to number 3 Ohio State to take on the Buckeyes in the Horseshoe in Columbus. Currently, Ohio State is a 2.5 point favorite. So much on the line here. These are both college football playoff contenders. If you watched my previous episode, my college football playoff predictions, I do have both of these teams making this year's field of 12 for the college football playoffs. And these two teams did meet last year in the playoff in the semifinals, where Ohio State was able to knock off Texas. So this game, I think last year's teams definitely were both better squads. They both have a lot of question marks, especially at key units and spots, but both have uber talent. I mean, these two are maybe the two bluest of all blue blood programs. They have every bell and whistle, every nook and cranny they need. They can get any Jimmy or Joe. They have the best talent, but it really comes down to two young quarterbacks. Julian Sayin will be starting his first ever start for Ohio State, while on the other side, you might have heard of this young man, a guy named Arch Manning. So the Arch Manning era officially begins there in Texas. He does have two previous career starts, does Arch Manning, but this will be a huge step up against the competition that he started previously. I mean, one game was against the ULM Warhawks, and the other game was against the Mississippi State Bulldogs, who I told you did not win a single conference game last year. So that's really what it comes down to. And I think the home field advantage is going to be huge. I mean, this is really kind of a toss-up to me. But I've been saying all off-season long, and I've been telling to anybody who's been willing to hear me, I just don't think Arch Manning is going to be ready quite yet. There is going to be some learning curves. There's going to be some issues. He's going to make those freshman mistakes, which I get it. He's not a freshman, but he's still a newbie starter, and he is. I just think at home, Ohio State gets it done in this huge matchup. All right, give me the Buckeyes at home over the visiting Longhorns. And this game matters nothing when it comes down to conference race, but it does matter a lot towards public opinion and perception about how good or bad is Texas or Ohio State. All right, but I'm taking the Buckeyes in this one. All right, next game that I selected, a non-con tilt between the ACC and the SEC. Syracuse takes on number 24 Tennessee at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. So, I mean, I guess you can call that a neutral site, even though it's going to be very pro-heavy Tennessee. Currently, Tennessee is a 14-point favorite against the Orange of Syracuse. Kind of like Ohio State and Texas. You've got two new quarterbacks starting at these programs. Tennessee coming off a college football playoff berth last year, but late in the offseason, they lost highly touted quarterback Nico Lamaveala. He transferred back home out west. Now will be QB1 at UCLA. So steps in does Joey Aguilar for the Volunteers, making his first career start in a Vols uniform. A lot of talent. I mean, I think both of these coaches are very underrated. I think this is going to be a much closer game than people think. But ultimately, I like the Volunteers with their speed and their depth and talent to win the day. Give me the Volunteers in Rocky Top in this matchup. Go Vols. Next game up. Big one, number 8 Alabama, year 2 for Coach Kalen DeBoer, replacing the GOAT, Nick Saban. A lot of people have already believed that this Alabama team could ultimately be, or could be right now, one of, if not the best team in the country. They travel on the road to hostile environment. They travel to Florida State to take on the Seminoles inside Doak Walker Stadium in Tallahassee. Florida State, currently a 13.5-point underdog at home. Yes, this is the Florida State team that was 2-10 last year. We get that, but there's no way they're going to be that bad again this year. Coach Mike Norvell, great coach. I think this is going to be a much improved team. I love how Florida State added Boston College transfer quarterback Castellanos, a guy who's a dual threat, can beat you with his arm and his legs. And he's been talking a lot about this game. Definitely has been jabbing about, hey, don't be surprised, Tide, if we take care of business against y'all. So Alabama steps in a new, like a lot of highly touted teams, they also have a brand new quarterback, and Ty Simpson, he takes over for departed quarterback Jaden Milroe. He's moved on to the NFL. I think this is going to be another close game, but I just don't see Florida State having enough to knock off Alabama. I like the Tide to go on the road and take care of the Seminoles, even though I love the Chief and Renegade, one of the best pregame kickoff rituals in all of college football, the flaming spear by the Seminole. But still, I like the Crimson Tide. Roll Tide. They get it done on the road against Florida State. Next game, a late night game on Saturday night. A big tilt between the Big 12 and the Big 10. The Utes, the two Utes, and I love that movie, My Cousin Vinny, even though it seems like it's on every other night right now on cable TV. So the Utah Utes travel to the sacred hallowed ground of the Rose Bowl to take on UCLA, the Bruins, from the Big 10 versus Big 12. Currently, UCLA is a 6-point underdog at home. I love this Utah team. I love Coach Kyle Whittingham, the second longest tenured coach in all of college football behind Iowa's Kirk Ferentz. I think one of the best coaches, period, in the nation. I think UCLA will be better in year 2 under Coach Foster. And I just mentioned they do have an upgrade at quarterback with Tennessee transfer Nico Lamavayala coming there. I think this is going to be a good 3-quarter game, but ultimately I love Utah. They had a lot of injury issues last season, so the benefit of that was they were able to get a lot of personnel, a lot of players, legit snaps and playing time. I think they're going to be one of the deepest teams in all of college football. Give me the Utes on the road over UCLA in the Rose Bowl. All right, my final game before I get to my specialty picks of week 1, Sunday night game. I love this matchup. This year's edition of Catholics versus Convicts. That's right, I love that. One of my favorite nicknames created back in the day. Coach Lou Holtz versus Coach Jimmy Johnson. I'm talking Notre Dame, Miami. Number 6 Notre Dame travels to Coral Gables to take on the Miami Hurricanes. Currently, Miami is a 2.5-point underdog at home. So basically, via Vegas, this is one of those classic toss-up games. I really love Notre Dame. I did pick them to make the college football playoff. They have one of the best offensive lines in the entire nation, if not the best offensive line. They've got that 2-headed monster in their backfield, headlined by, one of my Heisman Trophy finalists, running back Jeremiah Love, but they have a new quarterback. See, another one of these top 10 teams, top 10 ranked teams that we don't know what they've got at QB yet. We just don't know. I mean, Notre Dame will be solid on defense, especially along their defensive line. We know that. That's their calling card. But Miami, they need this win. This is a huge moment and a huge opportunity for Coach Mario Cristobal as he's trying to bring Miami back to prominence. I mean, we know what this guy stands for. Tough, hard-nosed football along the lines of scrimmage. They added former Georgia quarterback Carson Beck, transferred to Miami in the offseason. So they're going to be able to put up points, but it comes down to, can the U stop anybody? Have they learned how to play defense? Potentially we're looking at a little bit of warmth down there in South Beach. Could be some humidity. Hostile environment. I think they will pack them in there to Hard Rock Stadium. A new quarterback making his first start on the road. I like Miami to upset Notre Dame this game. Big win for the Hurricanes. I think this could potentially be the only loss of the season for the Fighting Irish, but I'm taking the Miami Hurricanes in this big-time matchup. All right, so now let's move to my 4 specialty games of week 1. I'm going to start off with my Academy game of the week, and this week really highlights and showcases 2 Academy teams. The VMI, the Virginia Military Institute, they traveled to Annapolis to take on the Navy Midshipmen. I love the triple threat option of Navy. VMI, I'm sure they're going to play the same type of football. So thank you. I salute you for all that you have done and will continue to do for this great nation, our academies. But I like Navy in this matchup. Go Midshipmen. Take care of business. Give me Navy in this matchup. Next game, my next specialty game is my group of 5 matchup for week 1. Out of the Sun Belt Conference, I've got the Georgia Southern Eagles, coached by former USC coach Clay Helton, I believe. They travel out west to California to take on Fresno State, the Bulldogs, and one of my favorite mascots, Victor E. Dog for Fresno State. Fresno State currently is a 1.5 point underdog at home. So once again, another classic toss-up here is how Vegas sees this one. Wow. Fresno State, they do have a game under their belt. Like I did mention early in this episode, they did play week 0 on the road at Kansas. So I think they will be a little bit more prepared. But I like Georgia Southern on the road. I love the Sun Belt. I think they're just going to find a way to get it done there in Fresno. So give me the Eagles of Georgia Southern from the Sun Belt to get it done over Fresno State and Victor E. Dog. All right, here we are, guys. It's come time for my spotlight game of the week. Let me get a quick swig of water here. And surprisingly, it was not number 1 Texas versus number 3 Ohio State. I chose to go in a different direction. I'm looking at the big game Saturday night, the face-off of, hey, who has the best Death Valley? Who is the best, fiercest Tiger? I'm talking about number 9, the LSU Tigers from the SEC travel from their Death Valley to the Death Valley of number 4 Clemson's Tigers. I mean, what a huge game. I mean, 2 absolute college football playoff contenders. I have them both in this year's college football playoff. That's what I predicted. I mean, what a matchup. Currently, Clemson is a 3.5 point favorite at home. So another typical toss-up game. I think this game could maybe go plus or minus a point either way. So a toss-up game. Also, too, not only does it have 2 top 10 teams squaring off, it is 2 college football playoff contenders, but I also wanted to make this my spotlight game of the week because it also includes 2 of my 4 Heisman Trophy finalists. Quarterback from LSU, Garrett Nussmeier, and quarterback from Clemson, Cade Klubnik. I expect a great game, a lot of pressure, especially for LSU coach Brian Kelly. He has yet to win the season opener as the head man down there in Baton Rouge. I love this Clemson team. I think they are the deepest team in all of college football, especially along both lines of scrimmage. I mean, they have depth, they have experience, they have continuity and familiarity within their program. I think that, coupled with the home field advantage, I think the Tigers and Death Valley of the East win out. Give me Clemson in this week's spotlight game of the week. Go Tigers. Of Clemson, that is. All right. That's it, guys. That's my week 1 preview and picks episode. Thank you for your time, your attention. I probably will not be on this Sunday because I got things going on. It's a holiday weekend. I got family in town. Some weeks I will have my instant reaction and analysis to the Iowa games, but I'm not going to have that this week unless something really, really unforeseen happens, and I hope not. All right. So what we have here, and I do have Iowa defeating Albany. I almost forgot my Iowa pick of the week. Wow. Week 1 jitters. All right, we all have to get over them. All right, but I do think Iowa will have no problems dispatching the Fighting Great Danes of Albany from the FCS. And they are a 38.5 point favorite at Kinnick Stadium in Iowa City. All right, so find me next week. I should be on for my Week 2 preview and picks episode, and also I will have my quick review of everything that went down in Week 1. So until then, enjoy the opening weekend. We've got football Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday of college. I mean, seriously, it's a college football plethora, a smorgasbord, a buffet. Enjoy it. So until next week, enjoy the football. Enjoy your work week, your school week. Peace, prosperity, and until then, go Hawks as always. And thanks for your time here on the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog. See you soon. Bye-bye.